Hey Student Success, this is your week 1 video. So I already uploaded a video with an intro, just kind of getting to let you know how to navigate the course. So as I mentioned, this is specifically for your very first week of the class. So week 1 is a little awkward because it starts on a Tuesday because of our holiday. So week 1 runs from January 19th through the 24th. So just keep that in mind as we, you're working through. So as I said in the intro, whenever you log in, you are automatically brought to the Start Here section. So you might want to click over to the Lessons area. If you have not already taken the syllabus quiz, you're going to want to stop right now and take that syllabus quiz because you need 100% in order to open week 1. So you cannot access week 1 quite yet unless you have that completed. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click into week 1. Every week is set up the same, so it'll take just a couple minutes to make sure that you are familiar with how to navigate each week. So for instance, when you click in, you will have kind of the overview, what you'll be going over that particular week, the items that you'll be reviewing, the assignments that you'll be completing. Down here, you'll have learning objectives, so the goals that you'll have met after you go through the materials and assignments, and then you'll have material and assignment folders. So when you click in the material folder, it'll give you again like what kind of information you're going to be looking at. And then it's going to have all the access information you need to get to that material. So because week 1 is chapters 1 and 2, you'll have direct links to the textbook here, chapter 1, chapter 2, and you'll also have slides that go through information relevant to the chapters. And I will talk about some of this information. And as I mentioned in a previous, in the intro video, I teach a reading class, and I teach that class very differently because with my SSC classes, you guys are all over, meaning some of you are in high school, some of you are brand new to college, some of you are returning students, some of you are, you took a break. So everyone's a little different, so your needs are different, and so that's why I won't necessarily go over every piece of information. I really want you to focus on what is beneficial to you. So that's the materials folder. And then the actual assignment folder is where the work will be completed. So it'll go over again what you're doing, and then it'll have the actual work right here. Okay, so I am going to take just a few minutes to go over the material. So we are in week 1 and week 2. So I do want to just pull up week 1 and week 2. Chapter 1 and 2 in week 1. Getting ahead of myself. So I do want to pull up that information. So I've clicked on chapter 1 textbook link. So here it is. So this is where I will again go back to find what is relevant to you, depending on where you are in your college journey. So you'll pull down the content section and you'll see what chapter 1 talks about. So maybe you are a high school student and so you need to know, like, who are you? What should you expect? And so this first little section is good for you because it will have some self-assessments that maybe you'll want to take some time to go over, some goals that you might want to make, and it's just some general college, welcome information. Also, the next section goes over who are you? What kind of goals do you have? What is your career path? What are your values? And so again, if you're younger, or maybe you're just reevaluating things in general, this might be a helpful section for you. The next section talks about kind of diversity in the college place. Now, some of you might just be taking online courses, maybe especially due to COVID, and so you may not be actually interacting with different students right now, but when you're back on campus, this might be kind of relevant information for you also. Now, no matter where you are, I think this next section is helpful regardless. Even if this is like your 5th semester back in college somehow, if you put this class off or whatever the case might be, I always kind of take stock of this when I go back and I take a class. How do I learn? What is the best way for me to learn? What are the processes I should go through when I'm learning new information? What is my preference on my learning style? And you might have to adapt it versus, based on what class you're in, the modality you're in. So I think this section, no matter where you are, is helpful. So I really would encourage the section 1.3 on reading and listening and learning styles so that you can kind of refresh what you need for each class that you're taking. So that is chapter 1. Again, I will encourage you to kind of look and see. It talks about what is college, about success. So again, really pay attention to those areas that you that you could benefit from. Chapter 1 also has a 47-page document. This is again where I say, this is a material that was uploaded in the course shell. So just use it as you need to. Normally, if the slideshow is a little bit shorter, I do in fact go through it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through these 47 slides. But I do encourage you to kind of just look through and see, what matters to you. If you are not decided on your career path, look at these slides, take stock of your past education. So I do encourage you to kind of look through and see, are you a traditional student? Meaning you just graduated high school like last year, you're fairly new to college, are you a returning student, what other kind of student category could you fall into? So lots of information, and you might just be able to find where you fit in here. So I do encourage you to look through here, but really just hone in on the things that are relevant to you. And you'll see that this slideshow goes, right along with chapter 1. So it's really just going into depth with some of the stuff we just talked about here. All right, so that is chapter 1. Now, this also talks about chapter 2. As I said, we're an 8-week session, so everything goes very quickly. So there's a link to chapter 2. Staying motivated, organized, and on track. So maybe you can see that there's one of these areas that you're like, oh, yeah, I don't do well with that. So you might pay attention more to maybe the organizational piece or the motivational piece, depending on where you are. So again, a lot of these chapters start off with like a self-assessment. So I encourage you to take a look, rate yourself, think about it, reflect. What are your goals? How do you manage your time? There's a section specifically on goal setting here in the next section. Again, I encourage you to look through. And as I said before, maybe pull down the chapter 2 menu and look and see, like, you know what? I feel good with setting goals, but I really need some time management. So maybe you skip to that section. So really looking at how you manage your time. And this kind of helps you take stock of your time. And we'll do that throughout the semester too. There's a time management assignment. So really looking to see, how do you manage it? What are some strategies? So again, encouraging you to really hone in on what is helpful to you. Part of chapter 2 also has a couple slideshows, so I will look at these. The first part, this one's much more manageable, staying motivated in college. So hopefully you're early on in the semester, hopefully you're really motivated. This is typically when motivation is at its highest, so making sure that you stick on to that motivation now, like making sure that whatever is motivating you right now kind of sustains throughout the semester, because it does tend to wane. So part of that is making sure you set your goals, set some long and short-term goals. Short-term meaning maybe just this semester, long-term more like the next year or two, and really just keep track of those goals, adjust the goals as needed, really pay attention to how you're trying to work on meeting those goals. Like if you set a goal, and it's a perfect time to talk about this because, as I said, I'm recording this in late December, so New Year's resolutions are coming up, and some of you may have made some. It's great to set a goal, to set a resolution, but if you don't put any work behind it, it's pointless. So set the goal, but also really take stock of what you need to do to reach that goal and adjust as you need to as you go. And then this talks about kind of some smart goal setting. So make sure your goals are specific. If your goal is to get a good GPA, that's not very specific. It's a good goal, like a good in mind, but it's not specific. Good GPA could mean a 3.2 to someone. It could mean a 3.7 to someone. So be specific. Can you measure it? Obviously, with a GPA, you can measure how you're doing. Is it realistic? Can you really achieve it? Is it flexible? Maybe you set a goal of a 3.8 GPA, but you're taking anatomy and physiology this semester, and you know what? It's not your thing. It's not going well. So you're going to be flexible and adjust that goal a little bit, and that's okay to do that, especially during COVID. That's one of the biggest things I've learned during COVID, is that flexibility is really important. So this is going to talk to you about different types of goals, short-term, intermediate, and long-term. Intermediate are the kind of goals that not a lot of people mention, but it's just what it sounds like. It's right in between the short and long-term. It's going to talk to you about different kinds of goals, process goals, how to set goals at different levels, and then suggestions for getting motivated. I'm kind of hoping that at this point in the semester, you're already pretty motivated because, starting the semester fresh, it's exciting. But these are some suggestions on how to get motivated and then kind of sustain that motivation, working on things little chunks of a time, seeking help, rewarding yourself, keeping an organized schedule, taking breaks. All of these things are ways to stay motivated. And then this slide, you might want to return to maybe in like week 4, week 5, halfway through the semester in your other classes, making sure that you revive that motivation and then keep tabs on your motivation. Also, part of chapter 2 also talked about organizing your time and space. And so making sure that you are organizing your energy, organizing your physical space, organizing your time. And so, I have a home office area, and that has really helped me during COVID to be focused on, working from home, because it's difficult, especially if any of you have kids at home. It's challenging to try to find that place. So organizing my space has really helped me to put in the effort I need to be a better online teacher. So making sure that you are having a space that prevents distractions, whether that means an actual physical space or a time, because maybe it's just not a good time for you to study until evening time or morning time. So just making sure that you find a space and time that's going to be conducive to your studying, making sure that you're not multitasking, because oftentimes multitasking is going to lead to lower quality work and more frustration than people who single task. So something to kind of keep in mind as you work throughout the semester. And then again, just being productive, finding the right time and place to be in the academic mindset. So that's your chapter 2 content. Again, I really do suggest that, I kind of went over it, but I really hope that you hone in on the areas that you think you could most benefit from. All right, so here are your assignments. You see you have a college scavenger hunt. You have 2 discussion posts this week. You have a Title IX quiz, and then I'll talk to you about this down here. So 2 automatically graded assignments, and then 2 discussion posts. So what does that look like? Let's go down to the assignment folder. Here are your objectives. I'm going to skip the discussion posts for just a minute, and I'm going to go to your 2 assignments down here. Both of these are going to open up into separate windows, and it's going to be like a moving PowerPoint. It's going to have some information, some links to click, some voiceover. So for instance, like I click on this, it's going to, here we go, pop up. Okay, and you'll see that my volume is down here a little bit. So you will see it'll read to you. You'll click next.
This presentation is designed to help you understand Title IX.
You'll keep going through, it'll ask you questions, and then make sure you submit the very last question, and eventually check to make sure that it recorded into the gradebook, because I do not see your work there. I cannot grade it. It is automatically graded. The same thing for the College Resources Digital Scavenger Hunt. It'll pop up into a different window, and it's going to walk you through
Stark State College offers
different resources on campus. So both of those assignments are done through these little windows, and you want to make sure you let them run to the very end, submit the very last question, and then go over and check that my grades, that a grade has entered. If it says in progress, that means a grade has not copied. Sometimes with Blackboard, it might not be instantaneous. It might have a little bit of a lag. So give it 10, 20 minutes and then check again. And if it does not record, you might have to go back in and make sure it runs all the way through, or let me know and I can try to go in and check as well. So those are 2 things that you're doing. Both of those are due by Sunday, and that is Sunday the 24th. Make sure you complete both of those. Underneath here, this is not required, but it's not graded. It really is helpful. This is where some of those workshops may be held, but it's also a nice place for you to go and job searching and resume, and it'll see all the benefits to it there. So that's where you go. It's not graded, but it's really recommended. It's a great resource. All right, let's talk about your discussion posts real quickly. You have 2 discussion posts this week. Now, normally your discussion posts are always due on a Wednesday, and I'm going to stick with that. So your attendance post is Wednesday, January 20th. You need to respond, and because it's a 2-part, you have to respond to both to get full attendance credit. Now, because this is an odd week, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient, and if you don't post until Thursday night, I'm still going to give you full attendance points. On a typical week, however, please make sure you're responding by Wednesday. That's how you're going to get full posts. And on weeks where you have 2 discussion boards, you have to respond in both to get full attendance. So if you only post in chapter 1 and do not post in chapter 2, you're not getting full attendance points. So please make sure you do that. Okay, so chapter 1 discussion, and you'll see they're both set up in a very similar way. So chapter 1 says, part 1, introduce yourself and discuss your major or certifications so you get to know your classmates. Part 2, select 4 of the 9 topics listed below. So you'll see this table here, and there are 9 topics. Choose 4, whatever 4 you want to choose. Values, learning process, learning style, lecture class, whatever 4 you want to choose. And you are going to complete the statement. So let's say I choose attitude. My most negative attitude toward college is, and maybe it's just one word, but it completes the sentence, or maybe it's a little bit more. Here's what I'll do to be more positive, and then you complete that. That's 1. And then you need to do that same thing for the second one, a third one, and 4. So you're doing that for 4 topics of your choice. You're completing the statements. Underneath here, you'll see an example of a post and a summary of what you need to do. So I'm going to go in, and I did this in my welcome video, but I'm going to kind of go through it quickly here. I'm going to click on the discussion. It's going to bring me through. You're not going to be able to see anyone else's until you post yours. So you'll hit create thread, and the prompt will show up again, which is nice, so you don't have to like click back and forth. You'll go ahead and you'll put in your subject, week 1 or chapter 1 post, and then put your response and hit submit. That's part of the assignment credit. So for your discussion posts, you get attendance points, but you also get assignment points. So you want to make sure that not only do you post, you also then go back into the discussion forum, maybe at a later date, and respond to 2 classmates. So respond to 2 classmates. And a response is not just, I agree, I disagree. It's a couple sentences. So make sure you're giving thoughtful, because this takes the place of like a classroom conversation. And you want to respond by Sunday. So remember, attendance is Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. And then you have a chapter 2 discussion. So you are doing 4 responses total this week. 2 in the chapter 1 discussion, 2 in the chapter 2 discussion. Your chapter 2 is also due Wednesday. Okay, so you'll only get partial attendance if you only post in one. So please make sure you post in both. And you'll see that this is very similar, only this time there are 6 prompts. You're choosing 4 of the 6. So you'll choose whatever 4 you want to respond to and complete the statements. Gives you examples, gives you a summary, and you'll do the same thing. You'll click right on it. It'll take you into the discussion thread. You'll click create thread. It'll post again, so you have that there for your reference, and then you'll post it in there. Okay. That is week 1. And as I mentioned, there's usually a lot in each week because we're cramming 16 weeks into 8 weeks. So real quick overview. Let me go back to the snapshot page here. College Resources Digital Scavenger Hunt, due Sunday. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 original responses due Wednesday for week 1 attendance. You have to post in both to get week 1 full attendance. Responded to classmates in each by Sunday, so 4 responses total. Title 9 quiz due by Sunday. The registration, do that at your convenience because it is not graded. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a Blackboard message, call me on my extension, send me an email, whatever you need. I hope you all have a great first week. Bye.